everybody, and a very well welcome to the pre-race talk show, episode 10, as we preview the Miami Grand Prix, just like the real-life Grand Prix. And typical in One Hub fashion, we have a clash. So P2 might move to the time of 7:30 if the drivers vote in time. Well, of course, we have to wait and see. But the drivers are raring to go with 3 more rounds to go, and we could see 2 champions being crowned tonight. We hope not, so it goes down to the final round. My name is Jess. Unfortunately, Colin is on holiday, so he is not here for this week. But I managed to find a stand-in quite quickly on Monday, so that was good. But joining me in the talk show booth for the first time is Jake. How you doing, Jake?
Yeah, good morning, Jess. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, very happy to be here, and yeah, it should be a fantastic days of racing ahead. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. Unfortunately, real life F1 threw a bit of a curveball, but thankfully, it's sort of slightly selfishly for me, it doesn't actually affect me too much.
Me neither. P4 and P3, I think, are very lucky that we could still watch the racing. So yeah, I think the lower tiers have probably breathed a sigh of relief of that one, because we thought our tier was going to be affected, because we thought, I think 4 p.m. was thrown at one point, 4 p.m. UK time. So thank goodness that didn't happen. But the Miami Grand Prix, last time it was hosted was, I think, season 26. Of course, it was Papa Squanch and Craggy that won in Miami last time out, and I remember it was raining for a little bit there as well. So quite a technical circuit, quite a low downforce circuit if it's in the dry, but if it's in the rain, which is very likely, I think quite a lot of drivers will probably try and experiment a little bit there. And tyre wear is going to be an issue, I think, as well. I've seemed to have found it during my practice. What about you?
I haven't actually done much practice yet, but I'm planning to do a bit today. But yeah, it's a strange circuit really, because you've got that really fast Suzuka-esque Sector 1, but then you've got that really long back straight as well, so it's probably quite hard to get the optimum setup here, I imagine. But yeah, I'm going to be quite unpopular here and say I actually do want it to rain, because I don't want Abu Dhabi to
I'm
be wet
the
next week,
same, actually. Yeah. I'm the same, but I don't mind it being raining in Abu Dhabi next week, because I'm not here. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm sure quite a lot of you are probably dreading the rain. But we will reveal the weather in just under an hour's time. But before we do so, let's have a look at a hot lap submitted by Senna as he takes you through the Miami circuit, the Miami International Autodrome. Welcome to a hot lap around the Miami International Autodrome. This lap is sponsored by Sim Racing Setups. As you enter turn 1, it's so easy to lock up. Keep tight through turn 1 in 3rd gear, and then go up into 4th gear as you enter turn number 2 and 3. Aim your car to the right-hand side as you enter these high-speed directional changes turns. 7th gear at the first part, 6th gear on the next part, and make sure you stay in that gear until you approach the end of the first sector. Use all of the track and aim for 3rd gear, and then go up to 4th as soon as the car is straight again. DRS wide open, and this is hopefully where you would have saved all of that battery to burn on this back straight. This is where you really gain the time through here. And then once you get to the end of the straight, disable the overtake button and shift down into 2nd gear for extra rotation. This part of the track reminds me of Vietnam back in F1 2020. Who remembers those good old days? Now you're entering the crest as well. This is a very difficult part of the circuit. Even the F1 drivers find it tricky. And now another part of the circuit where you need to use quite a bit of the ERS overtake button. DRS wide open as well. This is where we will possibly see quite a few overtakes. Make sure you aim for the 100 meter board for the braking. Some people could do it later, but for most people, if you do that, it'll be a bit too late. Exiting the last corner, and that is a lap around the Miami International Autodrome. So that is how you should take the Miami International Autodrome, and probably quicker than what I could do around here. The 25s in time trial, that's insane. So we could see the 124s in P1, but there we go. And before we go to talk about the tiers, the Predictions Championship, we'll explain how that goes in a minute, but me and Colin did not work out well last week. We hardly scored any points, but Colin's managing to close the gap to me by an extra 2 points by him getting extra points on that. So it's now, I believe, if I go to the tally, 18 points to Colin, myself to 22. And Colin has decided that he is being very brave. I don't know why he's doing this, but he's going to let Jake do his predictions today. So Colin, if you get rubbish predictions and I beat you, then you can blame Jake. So there we go. But I'm not doing that next week. I'm not trusting Jake, who's hosting next week, to do that. So yeah, Colin's managing to close up to me from last week. We'll see how we do this week. But let's kick off with P4. Of course, you are aware of this tier very well because you race in it. But we could see a champion being crowned today if Jamie wins the race and Reaper DNFs. Reaper didn't finish the race last week because he had technical issues. So I think, to be honest, Reaper would have been up there, Jake, if he was there, because he was showing good pace in practice. So it was a shame, but Jamie seemed to be on the up again last week after a horrific Jeddah race.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't comfortable around Jeddah, and he looked a lot more like his normal self last week. Obviously did ultimately get the win thanks to the surprise winner that we had in Okan, which really came out of nowhere for speaking on my behalf anyway. He's shown flashes of pace, but really he drove a perfect race last week and fully deserved a win. I would say I'm not expecting the title to be wrapped up this week, just because I think, Reaper, as long as he's here, obviously, I expect him to do very well. I think pace-wise, he's probably the quickest on the grid, or definitely one of. And Jamie didn't sound too confident ahead of Miami either. So, yeah, hopefully it rolls on to another week, because the last thing you want is a title to be decided with a couple of rounds still to go. But we'll see.
It could happen in P2, but I still think, in my opinion, that it won't happen in P2, because I've seen the permutation for P2 and I'm thinking this could be a likely story that we will see someone on the podium. So I'm hoping that it doesn't get decided till next week or even a week after when we head to Las Vegas. I think there's one tier in particular that's definitely going to go down to the final round, but for the other 3 tiers, it's more than likely it's going to go to Abu Dhabi. But last week, Cos got pole position last week. Unfortunately, I think in the race, he dropped down a little bit than expected. I'm trying to remember where he finished. He finished 10th, so he started pole, finished 10th. I believe he took an engine penalty as well, which was not the best track to do if you start in pole position, but he didn't climb his way up the field. But Cos seems to be like a dark horse in this tier, even though he joined like a few races ago.
Yeah, he's looked really quick, and that pole lap was brilliant, although, like you said, sort of tempered with the engine penalty. You probably didn't expect that, and then slightly regretted taking the penalty, and that ultimately, I think when you're in the midfield, it's difficult sometimes to get back towards the front, even if you've got the pace to do so. But yeah, Cos is definitely a threat, I would say. I think there's a few drivers now in this tier that on their day can really challenge the drivers at the front. So it's really interesting. I think it's probably quite a hard tier to predict. Although I will say, sorry, Colin, my prediction's historically terrible. So if I do sabotage you, it's not on purpose, I promise.
Yeah, I've told Jake to not sabotage you, please, because if he does, he will have me to answer to, because we want our championship to be quite close as well. There are certain drivers that are not going to be here. Michael is going to be here. He seems pretty confident around this circuit. Unfortunately, he couldn't make last week, but he's not that far off Okan in P8. Shiesty not that far behind as well. It's like you were saying, it's close between, I would say, P11 all the way up to P4. So the spot for P4 in the championship, it's still on, really. Even if you're 11th place, you could still get a top 4 in the title with this many races to go. I wish it was closer near the top of the grid, but from 4th to 11th, it's very close.
Yeah, Michael has only done, a handful of races, so, 4 races, I think it is. So, yeah, he's really quick. I would say him and Reaper, pace-wise, are the class of the field. So if Michael makes the last 3 races, I could easily see him maybe moving up as high as P4, P5 in the championship, because he's definitely got the pace to do so, and he could inadvertently have a bit of a say in the way the title goes, because I could see him battling Reaper and Jamie in the upcoming weeks.
That is a good point, actually. Yes, she may not be in a title fight, but if you're quick enough, you could spoil the party and maybe try and overtake your rivals and maybe try and fight them. And that could make a difference on whether it goes to Abu Dhabi or maybe Las Vegas. And maybe Michael and Okan and maybe Shiesty on this day as well could potentially do well. And the constructors, well, that's looking closer than the drivers. We got McLaren on 182, we got Red Bull on 117, Mercedes on 140, Alpine on 116. There we got Haas on 98, and then it's Ferrari, Williams, Racing Bulls, and Aston Martin and Kick Sauber. They're not having the best of seasons, but they're still scoring some points. At least, Jake, the constructors will probably go at least to Las Vegas by the looks of things.
Yeah, I was slightly worried coming into last week that Red Bull might run away with it, but obviously due to unforeseen circumstances for both Reaper and Joel, neither of them started the race. So that gave McLaren the advantage back. And Shiesty, after I'd say quite a barren run, had a much better race last time out, including a mega, I think it was 10-11 lap stint at the end on soft tyres, which I didn't think was going to be possible. So
insane.
Yeah, McLaren and Red Bull are right up there, and annoyingly, from speaking on my behalf as well, Mercedes could have been up there as well, but unfortunately Jack's missed a few races now, which has kind of put us a bit behind.
Yeah, there are. I can't call this tier, to be honest. There's so many drivers that could be up there, and with little experience on this grid, I think anybody could potentially win the race today. And I was very impressed with Bryce in the last few races, so we'll see if he can continue his form. Because I'm feeling very nice, just to give Colin a chance, you're going to go first in all 4 tiers this week, so I can have a disadvantage. So, Jake, starting with you, who's your pole and top 3? And I can't pick the same order, so I have to go for something different otherwise. So, Jake, over to you.
Right, okay. I'm gonna say Reaper is gonna get pole.
Good, I've gone for someone else. That's all right.
But I don't think he wins the race. I'm gonna say Michael, aka Madge, wins the race. I'm gonna put Reaper second and third. Third's a really tough one. I was actually gonna go for Crawford, but he's not racing. So
how dare you, Crawford?
I know, he ruined my third place prediction. I'm going to go for Shiesty, third place, I think, and back up his result from last week.
Okay, so Paul, I've gone for something different. P1, I need to change my prediction now. But anyway, Paul, I'm going to go for Michael. But I'm not going to predict him for the win because he obviously has been picked by Jay. So I'm going to go with P1, Reaper. P2, I'm going to go... Oh, this is difficult because it's so close. P2, I'm going to go with... I know Jamie said he's not good at this track, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go with Reaper, Jamie, and then I'm going to put Michael in third. Oh my God, I've probably got it wrong, but that's probably going to benefit Colin if I've got it wrong, which means he can close up anyway, so that's all good. So that's all our predictions. P4 is at the normal time. That's one of the 2 tiers that's not been affected by the time changes, so it will be at 3 p.m. with Bonyfish and Liam on commentary. But speaking of commentators, let's get one in, shall we, who's racing in the P4 tier. Hello, Curly, can you hear us?
I can indeed. Hang on, let me turn my stream down 2 ticks. There we go.
I was gonna say, I can hear my voice.
No, I thought I was going to be late. I had tech issues and the stream didn't show. I didn't get a notification for the stream, so yeah, I thought I was going to miss it. Yeah, I didn't get a notification, so that's
very weird. But at least you're here. Welcome in.
Yeah.
So we'll look. Yeah, so we'll look at the championship. You're still doing quite well. You still technically can get P4 in the championship, even though you're 10th at the moment. You had a decent result last time. I'll look at your results. The lowest you've ever finished is 8th. You've had a consistent season so far. So how do you think the last few races have gone since we last spoke to you?
Well, it's an average of P8. So was it last week was P6? I think.
No, it was P6 rightly. In Jeddah. It was P8 in my
right, okay.
P8 in China.
Right, okay. So yeah, P8 again last week, P6 in Jeddah. I'm still trying to obviously trying to break that top 4, but I think they're just too quick at the moment. And can I just say today? So last week I was in a chat with Evil, because obviously he was trying to commentate, but obviously he couldn't do it. And I did say, because my starting position, I did say I'm not going to get top 8, and he said you're going to get top 8.
Oh.
Yeah. I was with Evil and Boney, or the Boney Fish, I think it was, and or Bonnie Fish, either one. But yeah, today I've had no practice whatsoever. I think I've said this before. There's no point practicing until you know what the weather's going to be.
That is exactly true.
Yeah, there's no point doing any TT because you can't pick the wet weather either. They've took that away, haven't they? So yeah, I'll just, once I've seen the weather, I'll go and get some practice in. And yeah, and I don't like Miami. I'm not gonna lie, it is one of my worst tracks. So I've got a feeling today I will be outside the top 8.
Yeah, you're not the only one that hates this track, Curly. I'm not a big fan either, but you think you're going to be outside top 8? Well, I think you're going to get top. I think you're going to get top 8. So believe in yourself there as well. And have you done all your penalties for this season? Yep. That's you done. How's that going to play out? So maybe some drivers which are near your radar that's still yet to take this. I have no idea because I'm not the tier coordinator for that. But how that's going to affect the last few races when you know you don't have to take a penalty, whereas the people around you in the championship do have to take penalties?
Well, my plan was to take my last one today. That was my original plan. But because of the weather situation, obviously, last week I thought, well, during the week I'm going to take it, obviously, last week. So, so yeah. So now it can rain. It can rain as much as it wants now. I don't care. I'll take my penalties. That was going to be my next question. You want it to rain this week then, so it doesn't rain in Abu Dhabi? Yeah. If it rains, then I probably will finish outside because I'm no good in the rain on this game. I really am no good.
I'm not either. I'm like 3 seconds off the AI, so I'm absolutely rubbish. But we still could have drive for the rest of the season with the weather combinations. But we'll see. It is coming increasingly likely that it could be raining. But who would you say is your rival going into Miami? Who do you think who's your target to try and beat this week?
I don't really know. I don't think I've had one all season. I haven't really took any notice. I'm not going to lie. I have not took any notice. I haven't looked at the standings. I've just kept my eye, you know what I mean? Just done it like that. So, yeah. So, I've had no mark last week. He didn't rain. He's got no mark. I've got no mark this week either. So, I think I don't know what the highest we could have done in the constructors, but I think that's gone now.
That was unfortunate. Yeah, it was going to be Jake's prediction as well, but Crawford nicked it because Crawford was not going to be here. Yeah,
I heard.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating that how that's going to affect your because I remember you saying at around 3 or 4 that if Crawford was near you, you're going to overtake them. You're not far off Crawford in the championship. You're about 12 points.
I'm not.
No, not 12 points, less than that, about 8 points. Do you think you could beat your teammate in the championship?
Well, now he's obviously not. To be honest, I knew he weren't going to be here today. He did tell me a few weeks ago that he weren't going to be here today. Obviously, last week I didn't know. I didn't know what didn't know. But obviously, he got a good chance now, so of him not being here today. So yeah, if I can get some good points today, then possibly.
Still possible. Now, otherwise we'll be here all day. I'm not going to ask too many questions. So best of luck, Curly. You can, of course, catch Curly at the P4 tier at 3 o'clock with Liam and Boneyfish on the commentary. Best of luck, T-commentary.
Well, that's if I don't fall asleep. I didn't have a very good night's sleep last night. So,
oh, no.
Yeah.
But at least you get to watch the Grand Prix later on. Hopefully that's not a bore fest in real life.
No, I won't even watch that.
Okay.
I haven't watched a race all season.
Oh, wow. Okay, then we'll let you go, Curly. Best of luck, and we will see you on chat later at 3 p.m.
All right, have a good luck in your race as well too, Jess. Catch us later, guys.
Cheers, Curly. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we would have been here all day if we were asking Curly any more questions. So let's move on from one tier to another, and that is the P3 tier, where we've still got 10 drivers, I've did the maths, 10 drivers that are still in contention for the Drivers' Championship, and we could still, I think, see 5 or 6 drivers still in contention after Miami this week. This is a very close championship, and the top 3 are separated by 6 points, with Rydog taking his first win of the season last week, and Bonyfish having a little bit of a nightmare. Deggio had a decent run of form last week as well. The top 3 are quite close. Then we got 4th, 5th, and 6th quite close. It's anyone's game if you're in the top 6, but if any of the top 6 have a mare, P6, P7, and P8 could nip at their heels as well.
Yeah, it's this probably. I mean, I've watched quite a bit of this tier this season, and this has just been super close all the way through and really hard to predict. I would say this is probably the most exciting tier to watch out of the 4, if I had to say. And yeah, it's really anyone's game. And I think from now to the end of the season, consistency is really going to play a big part in who wins this championship. And you've got a few drivers who have come into the tier quite late on, who are clearly fighting at the sharp end, like Waitsy, like Cam, who could also play a bit of part in how this championship's decided. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a similar situation to P4, where we're seeing people that have came in later into the season in this tier that could probably spoil the party. I'm a bit surprised that Hedquist is not up higher up in the championship. I think he missed a few races, and he had a DNF one round as well. But there's plenty of rounds where he's been looking so consistent near the front as well. Hedquist, I think he could have had some good luck. Mikey, he did so well in qualifying last week, but unfortunately he didn't have the best of starts. I think he had the wrong differential on, as far as I'm aware, he told me, which he probably could have had a better start, but still finished in P6. Don't get me started about Mike. He has had rotten luck. His pace is up there, his qualifying's up there, but he just gets so unlucky in the race.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, you can do whatever it takes. You can give 100%, do nothing wrong on your end, but sometimes things just go against you, and that's sometimes the worst thing about racing, is that it's sometimes not all in your control. So yeah, Mikey will be hoping for better luck this week, and yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. As even if it's dry, I think Miami's the kind of track that will catch a few drivers out. So yeah, I expect a lot of unpredictable and surprising results here.
And there's been certain drivers that don't like the low downforce if it's dry, so there will be a few people that struggle. I think Bonyfish prefers tracks which has higher downforce, but he's still quite quick. Welsh Benjamin, I've seen in the chat. I know you. He said it's one of his favourite tracks, so he could be up there. He's already taken his engine penalty. Joe's up there on a good day as well. I think he finished 7th, I believe. I think his pace was good, but he got very unlucky with the pit stops. If he pitted, I think a lap earlier at his second stop, he would have been up there as well. And yeah. Again, I still can't call it really. But if I was to call who would be in the championship fight come Las Vegas, it will have to be the top 2, Bonyfish and Deggio, I think.
Yeah, and maybe Rydog as well, who's just seemed that win last week to really catapult him into contention. But like you can see, Ved, you've got Joe 4th in the championship, but he's only had 1 podium all season. That just shows the value in just being consistent. And even if you don't get the headline results, just keep chipping away, getting solid results consistently, and you'll find yourself up there. So, you know, he's only 21 points off the lead of a championship, but he's only got 1 second place to his name. He's got no other podiums. I find that quite an incredible stat, really.
And
yeah.
Welsh Benjamin was leading most of the championship, but after, I think, last week or the week before, he's dropped down into 6th. That's how close this tier could get. Welsh Benjamin could still win this championship, but he needs the top 3 to have a nightmare for the rest of the season, I have to say, if Welsh Benjamin wants to stand any chance as well. And there's quite a few pad drivers. Miami could be quite difficult on tyre wear, so we will see how that goes. So let's get our predictions in. Jake, I'm nice. I'll let you go first again. Who's your pole and top 3?
I'm gonna say Cam for pole.
Nice.
And then my top 3. I'm I'm going to go for Bony Fish to win the race. I'm going to say... this is a tough one. Cam in second.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go with Rydog in third.
Smart move. So who did you pick for pole again? Bonyfish, was it?
No, Cam.
Oh yeah, Cam. Okay, cool. I can see why you predicted them in that order, because of course if you're P2, you're probably gonna get a nice toe. So I think pole position is going to be. I'm gonna go with a Dead Joe for pole position. I was gonna predict Bonyfish for the win, but I'm gonna downplay that. So I'm gonna go with a Dead Joe P1. Bonyfish P2, and I'm gonna. Did you predict Cam P3 or P2?
I put Cam P2, so you could put
Okay,
P3.
Cam P3. Yeah, Cam P3. That's my prediction. And Rydog maybe fourth or something. So that's my prediction. Knowing me, with Welsh Benjamin, now that I'm not predicting him, he'll probably get on the podium now. So reverse psychology for Welsh Benjamin. So let's move on to P2. And bearing in mind the timing for P2 is still to be decided. So we could start at 7:30 just so we don't miss the racing for the real life Grand Prix. So if you are in P2, check the Discord, react if you can make the 7:30 time or not, and if the majority can, then we will move the time to 7:30. So keep an eye on that. But we could see Jacob winning the title if Kinney doesn't finish on the podium, and Jacob, of course, needs to win. This could be the likeliest story out of the two championships that could be crowned tonight, because Jacob looked like he's on fire all season. The only podium he did not get out of his most of his career is P4 last week, and he did struggle ever so slightly, but Lukey and Larkin really impressed me last week. They were the sharp end of the field for most of it, and Lukey was leading it for most of it.
Yeah, it's an astonishing season that Jacob's had, really. Like I say, the last race was his first race off the podium all season. And if you look at like him and Kinney's standout results, they're kind of quite similar in terms of wins and second places, but the difference is when Kinney's had a bad race, he's really struggled. Like he's had a 9th, a 13th, an 8th, and a 10th, and that's the difference really between him and Jacob. Jacob's just been so consistent all season, and yeah, fair play to Lukey and Larkin last week. They're in a very interesting battle with Salau, I would say, for that P3 in the championship. So although the Drivers' Championship could be decided tonight for Jacob, I say I could see that P3 battle going all the way to the final race.
Yeah, I think the top two is pretty much decided, but for P3 and P4 and P5, game on. And don't forget Josh as well, because we are going to be speaking to Josh in just a moment, so I won't speak too much about Josh, but he got very unlucky last week, got involved in a few incidents, but I know he's got the pace to be up there near the sharp end. Again, he could be the one that upsets the party, just like we've seen in the lower tiers, where someone who's not in the championship fight could be up there. Alfie got a bit unlucky last week. He got a podium in Jeddah, I believe, as well, and he was at least he got points, but I think with him getting an 11th place last week, unfortunately, his chance of a trophy, unfortunately, is downgraded this season. Again, for some of the drivers, this tier it could be unpredictable at times, but it's just Jacob's always the one to watch out for, same as Josh, but for everybody else, it's just like pick someone and they randomly go in that position. This is a tough call, I think. It's going to be really tough predictions when we make it in a minute.
Yeah, definitely. And just quickly looking at the constructors as well, Alpine have got quite a commanding lead. Obviously, Jacob with the majority of the points, but Alfredo's backed him up pretty well, currently in 7th in the championship, and that could be decided pretty soon, I reckon, as well. Although you'd fancy Mercedes maybe to take P2 with Josh being so quick and doing so well in his 4 races so far. If him and Lukey can keep getting those good results, they could easily snatch P2 in the constructors. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough prediction, this one. As a neutral, I want the championship to keep rolling on as long as possible.
Same.
But it's hard to see past Jacob at the moment, just with how consistent he's been. To not have a single bad race in 9 rounds is astonishing, really.
I think the most consistent out of all the drivers we've had in the tier, and the fact that he was disappointed with P4 is just saying something. He always wants the podium, and sometimes consistency does award you championships. We've seen that in many seasons. There was one champion that didn't win a race, and they won the championship, so it could still happen. But of course, our top two won quite a few races this season, and of course, Jacob running away with it, and I'm excited to see the top three battle, the Lukia, Larkin and Salah battle. That's going to be fun. But before we interview Josh, Jake, I'll start with you again. Who's your pole and top three? It's going to be difficult because I think you don't follow this tier that much. So I'm going to put you on the spot now.
I will say, I'm going to go for Josh for pole. Which, no pressure if he's just heard that. He's about to chat to us. And I'm going to say... I'm gonna back Josh to win the race as well. Actually,
okay.
I'll put Kine second and Jacob third. I just wonder, with the championship on the line, if Jacob will maybe play it slightly cautiously, and that's why I'm gonna put him down in third.
He will not play it cautiously, I can tell you that. That is interesting. Josh, I was gonna go for him for pole, so you've already nicked my pole prediction, but I've got a second option. That's going to be Jacob. I think Jacob's going to get pole position. The win, I think, is going to be Kine. He had brilliant straight line speed last week and got quite a few overtakes done. So I think Kine is going to take the win. I'm trying to remember who you predicted where, to be honest. I'm going to go with Jacob in second and Josh third. But knowing them, they probably got penalties. So we'll see. That's why I don't look at the penalties before this race, unless someone DMs me and saying, "Hey Jess, I've taken a penalty this week," and that kind of spoils the fun. So that's my prediction sorted. Let's bring Josh to the fray for Jake to interview. So hello, Josh. Can you hear us?
Hello. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm not bad. I'm struggling a bit after last week, but I'm fine.
Over to you, Jake.
Well, first things first, Josh, since I've just predicted you for the pole and the win, please tell me you're not taking any penalties.
You'll be pleased to know I am not taking any penalties.
Yes!
Oh, that's fantastic news. I guess to follow up on that, how do you feel about Miami as a track? Is it one you enjoy or not?
I said, like, in my pre-race interview, it's a Marmite track for me. Sometimes I do some time trials there and I just can't get any pace, and then sometimes I do it and I'm really quick, and there's never an in-between. But at the moment I'm riding a high, so I'm gonna stick with it and say that I feel confident going into this one.
And you must be pleased to see yourself in P6 in the championship, having only done the 4 races, especially with last week not going to plan. Did you expect to have this much of an impact?
I mean, I just didn't really have an expectation from myself at all, to be honest. This is the first lot of league racing that I've ever done. So I didn't really know where I was going to stack up, and I think that's probably why I ended up being a bit too quick in P3.
We had a fun little battle, didn't we, in P3 in Silverstone before I got disconnected.
You got disconnected. I think I came out of the pits just as you got disconnected, and
it would have been fun. But anyway, you do. Anyway, I'll shut up now and let Jake carry on.
Do you have a preference on the weather for today?
Not really, to be honest. I don't really seem to struggle too much when it rains, so honestly, yeah. You know what? Let's see some rain.
Whoa!
I agree. So I like that. Obviously, you'll be aware the championship could be decided today. Do you plan to race the championship contenders any differently to what you would race anyone else?
I don't know. I might give some people a little bit more space if I feel like I'm being nice.
Race hard.
I only say that because last week I made a few moves that were a little bit ambitious, let's say, and I think I just want to try and keep my nose a little bit clean this time. I think I had an engine penalty or something last week. So I remember I put it on pole. And I just
Oh, yeah,
kinda got
you
stuck
did.
in
You
the
did have an
mid-pack
engine
and-
penalty. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I got stuck in the mid-pack and just couldn't make up any ground. So I'm hoping to qualify pretty high up and then just keep it clean.
And I guess last question, I looked quickly at the Constructors' Championship, and now Mercedes are only, I think, 10 points behind second place. Yourself and Lukey are both doing a really good job, so is that another thing you might be targeting between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't know what the gap is. I don't know if we're able to win the constructors, but I think
I could
P2's
check.
probably
73 points. Is the
Still
gap, so it's-
possible.
yeah, still
technically
possible, but very
possible.
tricky.
Yeah, I mean we just kind of got to be consistent, really, and not get 20 seconds worth of penalties at the end of the race again.
Was that how much you got?
Yeah, I think it was. The most annoying thing is the biggest penalty I got was for the one that I thought was the least ambiguous. I just had that snap at the start of the race, because those hard tyres at the start of races are diabolical to try and get warm.
I don't know why you were starting the hards, to be fair, but
Well,
you
I thought I'd try. I thought I was just gonna try something different, and because I was starting so far back. But yeah, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, to be fair, when I took my engine penalty, I think I started on the hards as well. So it's not a bad strategy. Looking forward, obviously, only a couple of races to go after this. I guess this will be my last question to you. Is there a track after this that you're really looking forward to and be your best chance for another win?
Abu Dhabi, I like quite a lot. Vegas, I've never actually. I don't think I've ever done a full race at Vegas, so that'll be an interesting one. But Abu Dhabi, I love that race. I love that track, so I'm excited about that one.
If you're listening, J. Cole and Colin, one of you lump him on for the win next week.
I hope you're listening,
Yeah,
you two. no, I'm still predicting for me. So, and I get to predict
yes, of
first.
course, yeah.
I get to predict first next week. So, thanks, Josh.
No worries.
I will make a mental note that you like Abu Dhabi then, and Colin can't do anything about it. You've done all your penalties, haven't you?
No, I've still got a gearbox, so.
Oh, okay. And I'm not allowed to look at penalties, so I bet you when I pick you, you're probably getting a penalty for, I know.
I won't give you any tips.
Yeah. Don't give any tips, please. Best of luck, Josh, for this week
you.
and for the final few rounds of the season, and you can still get a decent result in the championship after a great season from you. So, best of luck, and we'll find out what time you're rating in a few hours' time. Hopefully, you'll be at 7:30, so you can actually watch a real life race. So, keep my fingers
That'd be
crossed on
nice.
that one. Best of luck, Josh.
Sweet. Thank you. I hope you guys go well today as well.
Yeah, good luck, Josh.
Thank you.
Yep.
Right, that's P2 done. Again, we won't know the time of the race until all the drivers have voted. But let's continue on then with the P1 tier, where we've got two drivers within 4 points of each other, Marco and Alex, after Marco took his first win since round 5 of the championship. 4 points adrift. Of course, with Kevin not in the championship anymore, and with Craggy only joining mid-season, it's really turning to be, I think, a two-horse race in terms of who wins the championship. Those two picking up the most wins this season out of the ones still left. I mean, it could be anyone's game between the two of them, because there's some races where Alex has performed well and there's some races where Marco's performed well. Again, this could go all the way down to Las Vegas. That's going to be my prediction.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. I think, their results are quite similar. They've had an off race or one or two, but then they've also had quite a lot of wins. I think so Alex had 4 wins and Mokri's had 3 wins. So there's really not much to split them. I guess looking further down the championship, you can see that Mokri's teammate is in P6 in the championship, and he's actually had 3 podiums in the last 3 races. So you wonder if maybe potentially having a rear gunner could give Mokri the slight edge, but you never know. You don't know what their relationship is and whether Mert is just kind of racing for himself. So it's a really interesting one. It's definitely going to go down to Vegas, which should be spectacular.
Yeah, I really do hope it does. I want I want most of the tiers to go down to Las Vegas, because wouldn't that be amazing? And I think it'll go down to the top 2. I think in all the tiers remaining. I don't think anyone else could deal with it as well. But outside the top 2, I have to say Craggy's had a few good races. He had podiums in Jeddah and Bahrain. Just missed out on a top 4 in, I was trying to think of what the last race was, China as well, but it was just so difficult to overtake. And as you were saying earlier, Mert's form's picked up, I would say, from round 6 of the season. I think he was struggling at the first start, probably because he was adapted to drives around him. Now he's making less mistakes, which is great to see. Craggy could be the one that spoils the party. Craggy could still get, I'm almost certain Craggy will get top 3 in the championship, but there's nothing stopping him. If Alex and Marco have rubbish races, Craggy could still get a top 2 in the championship.
Yeah, and he's been so consistent since he's joined P1. Like, the results have been really good to see. So he's definitely going to play a part, I think, in the rest of the season. And yeah, if one of us top 2 split up, sort of starts to slip up, shall I say, he'll definitely have a chance of gate crashing the top 2. And yeah, so it's interesting. And then you've got drivers, I think, like Casper, who can, on their day, can be a big threat as well. So it's a really interesting tier, and for sure I'll definitely be watching Vegas at least, just to see how the championship unfolds.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of drivers that could get in the way of the championship contenders and try and score points of them. I think more than ever, even points in this tier is still a win. And I have to say, let's talk about Casper, actually, because his form as of late has been that great up until last week, where his pace was exceptional. Unfortunately, I think it was turn 13-14, he had a snap of oversteer. He lost quite a lot of time, and he could have been on the fight for the win. But for Casper to still get a P3 in a competitive tier is definitely a force to be reckoned with for Casper. Shame he's only P9 in the championship, but he did get driver of the day. And I was speaking to him after the race, and he said, even despite the mistakes he's made, he really enjoyed the battles he had. And the battle that we covered in the stewards room was between him, Colin, and Morgan, and that was really entertaining to watch. It was a shame we didn't catch it on stream, but despite the mistakes, Casper really did enjoy China last week.
Yeah, I say I've raced against Casper quite a few times. Well, I say race against, he's usually about a minute
overtaken us.
But so I kind of, when I saw the lineups at the start of the season, I say Casper was one of the drivers I thought was really going to be up there, but consistency just hasn't quite been there of late. But yeah, on his day, he's a threat to anybody. So I hope for his sake he can continue that good form he showed last week in China and keep that going, because the more drivers that battle at the front and give the top 2 a hard time, the better it is for us as viewers.
Yeah, I think the better is as viewers, and if there's a long DRS train, which could happen around Miami, anything can happen really. And I'm just let me just talk about one other driver who I would expect to improve a lot better. Lakitu, he got pole last week. I can't remember if he took an engine penalty or not, but again, he struggled last week to get himself through the field, and he finished outside of the points. We thought he was going to be up there trying to fight for third in the championship, but with Craggy 10 points behind, he's going to be quite difficult to beat. And with the likes of Callum, he's quick on his day, but unfortunately his season's gone to pot. Logan, he got unlucky last week by only getting 1 point. Well, I think Lakitu's got to have a good race this time out in order to stand a chance of getting third in the Drivers' Championship, because otherwise that's him done. He'll probably have to settle for 5th or even 4th in the standings.
Yeah, it's difficult if you get a couple of bad results. I think it's easy to get into a bit of a rut, and that looks like what's happened to Lakitu, I think, in recent races. But I think, clean slate now, and obviously we had quite a few breaks, I think, in the early part of the season, whereas it's kind of been full on since the mid part of the season now. So if you do have bad results, it can sort of catapult and keep going from one race to another. Mm-hmm. So hopefully for Lakitu's sake, he can bounce back, because he's not out of a contention for the top 3 in the championship. He's only 10 points behind Craggy, and yeah, so if he can get back his sort of early season form, he could still potentially get into the top 3 of the championship, but this feels like a very important race for him.
It is an important race for quite a lot of our championship contenders. We could see, I think, it whittle down to 3 or 2 drivers by the end of tonight if they're not careful. So, predictions for one final time, Jake. What do you think? Pole, top 3.
Right, okay. I'm going to say... Ooh, I'm going to go for Moku. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Marco, thank you. I'm going to go for Marco for pole.
Okay.
I'm going to go for Marco for pole. I'm going to say Marco for a win as well, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go for Craggy in second. And... I think I'll go for Mert in third, so I'm actually going to say Alex won't get a podium. And
Okay. I was going to predict Mert. Oh, I was going to predict Mert P3. That was my exact. But I disagree with you for pole position and the win. I got to stick with my guns. It didn't work for me last week, but I looked at the race image. And there's a certain person that won last time out in Miami, and it's racing tonight. So I'm going to go with tradition, and I think Craggy's going to get pole and the win tonight. Second place, I am going to go with Alex. No, wait, no. Right, I want to go someone different. So, Mert P2, Alex P3. There we go. I was going to predict Mert P3, but you bloody nicked it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with... so Craggy P1, Mert P2, Alex P3. So, that is my prediction. So you can catch myself and Jamie at 7:30. And by the way, if P2 is streamed at the same time, P1 will be on YouTube. So that'll be the decision, because P2 obviously has a championship fight. P1, it could still technically go to Las Vegas, so it's only fair that the one who's still got the title fight to be decided today could be you know what I mean. But again, we'll find out later on what's going to happen. So there we go then. That is our predictions done, our lineups done. Let's look at the car wear penalties, and we got quite a lot of them. I'll start with let me go through. I think there's not many in the lower tiers, but the higher tiers has got quite a lot. So P1, there's only 2. We got Lakita taking an engine and Axelot taking a gearbox. That's good, because I didn't predict any one of those to do well. So there we go. In P2, we have Larkin taking an engine, Seiko taking an engine, AKX-Ro taking an engine, Nicholas taking an engine, Kine taking an engine, Mokui taking a gearbox, Alfredo taking a gearbox, and Chris taking a gearbox. And Kine, you ruined my prediction because I predicted you. So, screw you. But P3, we got Adejo taking an engine. Again, that screwed my prediction. Escargot taking an engine. Ivor Bryn Mike taking a gearbox. And Gaza taking a gearbox. I'll send you these, by the way, Jake, because that will help you with your commentary. In B4, we got yourself, Jake, taking a gearbox, Wolf taking a gearbox, and engine, we got Michael and King Bryce taking an engine, and that's all the penalties. And that's pretty much screwed quite a few of my predictions, but not as much as last week. But there we go. Has that screwed your predictions, or are you okay?
I don't think Kinney and Michael have particularly helped, but of course in P4 earlier in the season, Jamie took his engine penalty and ended up winning the race. So it's not out of the question that could happen for one of these guys tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we don't look at the. That's why we don't look at the gearbox and car wear penalties before the race. Yes, I have access to them, but I purposely have it. What's the word? I have it closed, so I don't see them, and then I only look at them once we made our predictions. So the only times I only see the gearbox and engine is P3 if I want to check if anyone's being compliant. But there we go. Now it's time for everyone's favourite part, the adaptive weather system. I think most people know how it's going to work, so we'll cut to the chase so we could all have some lunch. Jake, you wanted rain in both quali and race, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bothered about qualifying. Obviously, we've had a few wet interrupted qualifying sessions, but yeah, I definitely want a wet race. In fact, I'm glad that we haven't got cameras on during this talk show because I'll be doing a very embarrassing rain dance while you spin this wheel.
Yeah, we don't have cameras on in One Hub. Let's just say that. My hair looks absolutely a nightmare. I haven't brushed it properly this morning, but there we go. So this could be the time where we will run out of rain combinations for quali, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's get the screen up so we could get predicting for quali. So there you go. We only have a few entries left. So let's spin the wheel. Is it going to be a dry quali or is it going to be a wet quali? We'll have to find out. It is light cloud to clear. It looks like, yeah, light cloud to clear. So it's going to be a dry qualifying session and Cam's going to be the lead because his stats is going to help him a little bit there. So there we go. So dry qualifying. Probably not a bad thing because technically we could still have a dry qualifying next week, Jake, in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's it. The only reason I want rain this week is I just really don't want it at Abu Dhabi, and we've not really had much rain in races, so there's plenty of chances of it happening. So please rain. Yeah,
we're gonna see Quinn's wanting some rain. He wants a wet race. Joel wants a. Of course, Joel, you want a wet race. You're not even gonna be here. I think Joel, are you here today? I don't think so. But yeah. Let me just check actually before we spin the wheel. Hold on. Round 10. Yeah, Joel, you're not here. So yeah, of course you don't want you want a wet race because you're not going to be here. But to be honest, I feel the same for next week when I'm not here. So yeah, I can see why. So let's get the wheel up for the race. And I agree, Quinn. We need more wet options on the wheel. But let's spin it anyway. And I hope there's going to be a bit of rain at the end of the race. That'll be fun. Oh, clear to overcast to clear. Oh, if it rains in Abu Dhabi. Oh.
Don't. Oh, and J. Cole will be spinning it next week. I bet he'll spin a wet race.
He'll rig it. He'll rig it, joking. We don't rig things at One Hub Racing, that's not allowed. So, yeah, unfortunately, we can't rig stuff at One Hub Racing because, yeah, that's not allowed. But, yeah, J. Cole has the power for the wheel next week, and I'll have the biggest smile on my face if it rains in Abu Dhabi. Welsh Benjamin's like it. Chris says we need a full wet session on the spinner next season. I'm going to bribe Lukey to do it. There we go. So that's the weather then. Dry all the way through. That's probably going to be a relief for you, Jake, and anyone else who's taking car wear penalties.
I did want a wet race, to be fair, but it's okay. I can work with, at least I can get a good dry practice in now before.
Exactly, as is most people, which it will start at 1 o'clock UK time, the group practice, but I'm sure lots of people will be practicing a little bit later on. So a quick run through of our sponsors. We won't have time to go through all of them. So I'd just like to say thank you to our title sponsor, Delta.app. We also got Next Level Racing, Sim Racing Setups, Pure Sim Gear, and our partners, Vespertine and SimGrid. Jake, any final thoughts before we wrap up and have some food?
Just thank you for allowing me to step in this week, and yeah, I look forward to hearing Colin's reactions to my dreadful predictions when he comes back.
Yeah, you now get to feel what I feel on a Sunday where I'm doing the talk show, then I'm racing, then I'm doing commentary. So, yeah, of course, Jake's filling in for Lawrence this week because Lawrence can't make it, so there we go. So P4 will be on at 3 o'clock, P3 will be on at 4:30, P1 will be on at 7:30, but P2 still to be decided because we're still waiting for drivers to vote on whether we start at 7:30, but it's looking very likely that we will be starting at 7:30, but we want all drivers to vote. So thank you for watching, and you'll see Bonyfish and Evil at 3 p.m. UK time for the start of P4. And Jay, best of luck with your race and your commentary, and we will see you at 3 o'clock. Bye-bye.